Welcome. This is Bruce Kirsch, founder and president of Real Estate Financial Modeling. Thanks for joining us. We have a terrific webinar for you today. We're going to talk about how Valuate, which is REFM's web-based property transaction marketing and financial analysis platform, can empower you with very little additional effort or time to present investment sales properties in a significantly more compelling, impressive manner that can lead to more and bigger listings, better buyer prospect engagement, and an increased number of property purchase offers. While commercial real estate has traditionally lagged in the adoption of new technologies, by the end of this webinar, you'll understand why Valuate is on its way to becoming the ultimate listings pitching tool, and why major property buyers are starting to tell their brokers to Valuate it and share deal financial analyses with them that way. Let's go ahead and get started. What I'd like to talk about just for a moment is the evolution of how investment sales properties have been analyzed from an investment financial point of view and marketed over time. As you know, everything used to be done in hard copy by snail mail and by hand with pencil and paper. The marketing communications, the offering memo itself, the deal room, and the financial analysis. Over time, we've graduated to an electronic and digital format, where the confidentiality agreements were transmitted by fax, and the offering memo was made available in PDF in addition to being disseminated in hard copy. The deal room moved to a CD-ROM, and financial analysis moved on to Lotus and Excel. The last major transformation has made everything digital, where marketing communications are sent out by blast email. The offering memorandum is almost exclusively in PDF, which the prospect will then print, and the deal room now sits in the cloud. And financial analysis naturally has come to include Argus in addition to Excel, and Lotus has disappeared. While it hurts to admit it, most of the time and effort spent on making the offering memorandum is a waste because the buyers flip right to the rent roll and right to the financials sections, skipping over everything else. But buyer prospects are frustrated with the financial analysis process. They have three major pains, which are it takes too long to run and rerun analyses, they make too many mistakes and omissions, whether they admit it or not, and it's hard for them to keep track of the different versions of files and which was shared with whom internally and externally, and all of this creates stress and leads to wasted time and energy for buyer prospects, and as we all know, time kills deals. Providing a transaction financial analysis to buyer prospects in Valuate allows them to work faster, avoid mistakes and omissions, and track files and collaborate with their partners much more easily. It serves as the ultimate deal screening tool for them, giving them pro forma precision at back-of-the-envelope speed on all bases, unlevered, levered, and joint venture. And Valuate can be leveraged even by brokers without dedicated financial analyst support. Regardless of your level of back office assistance, though, Valuate raises your level of analysis and presentation significantly. Imagine buyer prospects actually looking forward to getting a deal from you over email, instead of dreading all of the work that it takes for them just to see if it's a good fit. If you were a buyer, which one of these two emails would you rather receive? The one on the left, which is just boilerplate, or the one on the right that has these integrated financials that are instantly interactive, or at the very least, a teaser snapshot of the financials that piques their curiosity enough for them to sign the confidentiality agreement and learn more. This same big opportunity exists for the presentation of transactions on mobile devices, where increasingly more prospects are likely to be making their initial screening decisions. And imagine pitching a prospective listing as the brokerage team with the slickest, most engaging property marketing platform out of the entire bake-off group. It makes the teams who only pitch with PowerPoint, hard copy, collateral, laminated maps, and foam core boards look totally behind the curve. And so Valuate helps buyer prospects out with the second half of the financial analysis process, which is taking an existing property level operating cash flow projection and then applying purchase, sale, debt, and equity and joint venture mechanics. In the case of financial analyses of acquisition and disposition of existing retail, industrial, and office properties, Valuate replaces the use of Excel, acting as a companion to Argus. And in the case of financial analyses for acquisition and disposition of multifamily, hotel, and self-storage properties, it replaces the use of Excel for the second half of the analysis. Well, let's go ahead and take a look at the platform. What I want you to keep in mind as we go through the application is that providing transaction analyses to buyer prospects in Valuate is a level of client service that's far above and beyond what has been done traditionally, and prospects really notice that. The first thing that you'll see here on the dashboard screen is that there's a clean, crisp, polished presentation, which is well labeled and very intuitive to navigate and interact with. Valuate's interface has incorporated some of the familiar conventions of an Excel spreadsheet, such as the formatting of inputs in bold blue type, so that it still has a natural feel. The dashboard screen is a hybrid input and reporting screen and provides the perfect executive summary view of the transaction for investment sales teams, managing directors, for property sellers, and buyer prospects. There are 3 other input screens, and we will show you those as well in a moment. They are cash flows, purchase and sale, and sources of funds. What's convenient and productivity enhancing to buyer prospects is that key transaction analysis inputs are editable right here on the dashboard, such as purchase price and holding period. So sellers, brokerage managing directors, and buyers who don't want to go anywhere else in the application don't have to. They can manipulate 80% of the deal drivers from this single screen and see the investment returns key performance indicators adjusting in real time. And Valuate allows you to provide this luxury to sellers and to buyer prospects. The inputs can be changed rapidly, such as changing the timeline of the investment, and buyer prospects and sellers will get useful reporting elements in Valuate that they don't have in Argus or Excel, such as how this unlevered summary table just adjusted from 11 years down to 6 years when I changed the holding period from 10 years to 5 years. And we'll now see it adjust back. Everything currently showing here above the fold is the unlevered analysis, and when we look down, we will see the levered analysis. And to be clear, Valuate is running analyses in the background based on the manual importation of a set of monthly operating cash flow projections directly from either Argus or Excel. And so the user will import the cash flows on the cash flow screen, and then Valuate integrates the purchase, sale, debt, and equity elements, all computed at a monthly level of granularity and precision. So let's go to the cash flow screen now, and I'll show you how easy, quick, and painless it is for you as a broker to bring in the cash flows, and for sellers and buyer prospects to dump in their own versions when they inevitably adjust and readjust key income and expense projection assumptions in the first half of their analysis. So let's say that I had a monthly projection in Excel. Okay, I've got my monthly model here. All I have to do is pull in a half a dozen key line items, and I do a Control A here, Control C, back to Valuate, Control V, and then click Process Cash Flow. And in under 10 seconds, the cash flows have been read into the application. And so everything is in at this point. The biggest time saver and the best part of this importation process is that no matter what the unique collection of line items is that exist in the analysis or what the buyer modifies, Valuate will accept all of those inputs and find these subtotal line items automatically. There's no reconciliation or vetting of totals needed whatsoever. And this is a huge step forward from spending 15 to 20 minutes carefully checking to make sure that each line item was mapped properly to an Excel file in the case of an Argus output, and then validating manually that all of the subtotals and totals are tying. Let's take a look at the purchase and sale screen next, and this is where we can provide more detail on acquisition costs, as well as include acquisition and disposition fee inputs, which are always of interest to the buyers in their analyses. Another time-saving feature of Valuate is the fact that certain inputs that exist on the dashboard screen also exist elsewhere. So for instance, our purchase price, which we had input on the dashboard, sits here as well. And wherever we make that input for that variable last is what will dominate throughout all of the other screens in the application. Last is the sources of funds input tab, where we can size an amortizing or interest-only senior loan quickly based off of loan-to-cost test or debt service coverage ratio test. And we can also effortlessly create joint venture partnership structures of up to 3 players. So here we're showing a loan sized by loan-to-cost and a 2 equity player transaction. To introduce a 3rd equity player and create a double promote structure to the sponsor, all we have to do is change this input from 2 to 3, and Valuate does the rest of the work. So now we're showing 3 players, and we can resize the equity contributions with this very convenient slider bar, and Valuate will rerun and then simply give a name to this 3rd player now. And so now what we see at the bottom are 2 separate waterfall structures, cash flow partitioning structures for how dollars are going to come out of the transaction. And so normally this is a very treacherous process to set these up or manipulate these, such as taking out a tier in a waterfall. With Valuate, all I do is change it as such, and the table is going to regenerate so that I no longer have what is the extraneous tier. So it's very hard to mess this up. It's basically foolproof. And so the first set of boxes here is for the sponsor and the third-party investor, and the second set of boxes are for the sponsor equity partnership. And so needless to say, giving this level of sophisticated analysis ability to prospective buyers is a potentially huge competitive advantage to sellers and brokers for the superior client experience that it provides. The gains that Valuate's going to bring to collaboration and prospect engagement are also astounding. Once you have a file that you are ready to present, you simply click on this share button here, and you will be able to enter in email addresses where you can share the transaction internally and externally. Each recipient of the shared file can then log in and manipulate the inputs individually and privately, all without impacting your copy of the file. And this can be done while on the phone with the prospect, reducing a lot of the back and forth and helping to compress the timeline of that discussion or that negotiation. With Valuate, it's click and call and everyone's on the same page. And while you might not believe it, your listings and buyer prospects can actually do everything that we've shown you here except for pasting in cash flows right from their internet-connected phone or tablet. So they could be waiting for the subway, they could be in a taxi, and they can be screening properties, and you're giving them the convenience and giving them that time, which is very significant. Valuate is a monthly subscription service priced at $149 per user per month. For brokerage teams, white label private server implementations are also available, where the color scheme of the application interface is customized to your company's brand guidelines, and where a full set of prospect behavior analytics become available. Imagine as a brokerage being able to see which buyer prospects have logged into the file, how many times, and the length of each login. Instead of having to guess blindly who's truly interested in a deal, you'll have the edge of being able to view the file access reporting and spend your time and energy following up with those who are really most likely to end up in the best and final round. Our offer today is a premium subscription presale of 6 months or 12 months of access at 50% off, which is the deepest discount that we will ever offer. And this is either $447 for a 6-month subscription or $894 for 12 months. And the bonus that's being offered with the presale is a $500 coupon towards REFM digital products such as our Excel templates, which work seamlessly with Valuate. That's for 6 months, or a 12-month subscription comes with a $1,000 coupon. All of these presale purchases are satisfaction guaranteed or your money back, and premium access includes online and phone support, and we'll even load your first deal along with you. All brokerage firm individual subscription purchase amounts can be applied down the road to the cost of a future brokerage platform white label implementation. This offer is only good for another 11 days, so buy now and take advantage of the promotion.